Pedals and Effects gets to show the Enzo from Meris.
Meris has invented a brand new synth pedal called the Enzo.
You know what I thought the name was? Beta 01. But it's not. It's because this is the first one.
We knew about it. When did they tell? We knew they were working on a synth pedal
this year.
Not to be like, oh, us, but they told we're friends with them. They're like homies, and they had told us they were working on it.
Yep.
And we'll just recap this real quick. Meris is 3 people: Terry, his wife Gina, and Angelo. It's a 3-person operation in a building in Los Angeles making crazy shit. Okay.
Crazy.
And so when we first met them, you saw this. What was this? Was this a year ago now?
Over that.
18 months or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys saw us do the Ottobit Jr.
We launched that Ottobit.
And when we first met the Meris people, we found out that Angelo was in the head of the Line 6 project, the FM4 purple pedal. You know, the crazy synth pedal, like the synth pedal of all synth pedals for me, because it had like whatever, maybe 12 synth engines in it or something like that. And it was just crazy, and that was the one that everyone wanted. So when we met them, we were like, hey, that's crazy. It was kind of like it was like kind of nervous around a celebrity. Like, whoa, you did the purple pedal? That's amazing.
Props.
Meris, you guys should think about doing another synth pedal because that's the one. And then come to find out, they did one. And it's everything you would want in a synth pedal by those 3 people.
It is a banger. So, yes, Nick let me have it for a couple days so I could get ready for this. And I'm always a little intimidated because, the Ottobit was took me a little bit longer than it took Nick. Nick just immediately jumped in, was, handling it. The reverb one I had a little bit easier time with, and then this one I was super intimidated with, and I shouldn't have been. I actually own it, meaning I know how to run through it, and I get it. It's so intuitive now for me, and it's along the lines of what they've done in their previous pedals, secondary functions,
Yeah, it's what once you get one Meris pedal, or you fool around with one for an hour, then they've adapted this size and
right.
inner workings of it. That's just this. It is what it is now with them. There's always the secondary functions.
Right.
Sometimes there's third functions that you could get into and stuff. But it's absolutely amazing. There's 4 different sounds you can get out of it. We'll go into all that stuff. There's a bunch of cool knobs that do pitch shifting, and there's a compressor hidden in this, and two different synth engines and filter envelopes and tons of different filter envelope options and different waves, square, sawtooth,
yes.
all that stuff.
Yes.
And it's packed in this little teeny thing.
Yes.
And we're always very hyped up on new synth pedals coming through. And
there's been a ton of them.
There's been a ton
last year.
Yeah, there's a lot. And personally, this is the one. The Ottobit Jr. was a splash, right? That was a big. They caused not a splash, a fucking tsunami with that pedal.
Right.
And I think that this is their next tsunami.
100%. And the one thing I gotta say though, this thing leads you down the musical path, because once I started getting into it and I started seeing how it worked, I was like, oh, that's tight. I'll be in the mono mode, and then I'm like, oh, what is going to sound like polyphonic? And then all of a sudden, you know what? It would sound better if I flip through the filter engines and get the right filter for that sound. Next thing you know, I'm playing different bass lines. I'm getting different ideas. This thing is a music maker, and for bass, it is you're going to get hired and you are going to take synth dudes out of their game, and we get in there because this sucker is so tight. And I'm going to sell 1 billion for Meris to bass players.
Bass,
I promise.
Keyboards,
yes, of course,
keyboards, guitars,
right.
Drum machines. That's the other weird thing, because they're coming from what is that? The synth module, right? What is that?
They're on the 500 series.
500
series.
Because
I said the other one last time and I made it.
They started in that 500 series, so
right.
they're coming from it from a different perspective. So the filtering is crazy. It's basically if you just removed filter sections and sliders and knobs off of a Moog or something, you know what I mean? And they put it in a guitar pedal. And I have not heard a guitar pedal that does filtering like they know how to do it.
It's one, it's great, it's wide, but it's also incredibly clean, which I love, because you can also, in this, you can, dirty it up with the ring modulator and get like those ring mod sounding.
There's a ring
sounds.
mod hidden inside there, yeah.
But with this, like, it's just clean, and the way that, like, a lot of the synth pedals that I use, and I used to use the micro synths, and man, those things, you gotta fight with it to get your bass sounds right, and you're still getting all these artifacts that you may not want. This thing is a streamliner if you want it to streamline. It is so tight. And so I can't wait to show in musical examples how tight this thing is.
And if you haven't fast forwarded yet to where the music starts, now it'll start.
Now it is. Enzo as an envelope filter. So what we were saying earlier, listen to that filter rocking. Right, so then, we can mess with the pitch. If we want to go up a little, let's do that. I mean, there's funk up in this pedal. And then let's go down so you can hear that. So here, I can even just dime, so there's no dry mix, just wet. But so this is cool. So it's a pitch shifting and envelope filter in this mode. That's what, right now I just got it cool sounding. And then here, let's mess with the attack. Let's put a little vibrato on it. So here, actually, so just so you can hear, I'm going to turn the filter down, and then it's a nice little vibrato sound. So coming back in, let's just add a little bit of the funk, and then so there, and then let's we turn the threshold on the compressor up. Maybe we'll get a little bit more of the vibrato. So then now already the envelope's acting a lot better. I mean, listen how fast that's tracking. I'm playing fast, and this thing's right with it. So now check it out. I got this sucker in mono mode. So it's that same kind of filtering, envelope filtering, but now let's mess with the filter. So then I'm going to turn the modulation off. So then I'm going to also turn this filter off and just get bass and sound. And then go down. And then you can go up. So that sounds gnarly in the tuning, but like if I just, go full wet mix. So now I'm going to add a little bit of modulation. So then as I start building this like different sounds, and I go, okay, let's add a little bit of filtering. And then I'm going to go even full like envelope filtering coming into the envelope. There we go. So there, as the notes started lasting longer because I turned the sustain up. So again, man, it's so easy to be thinking about your sound. You're listening to yourself play, and then you're going, I wish the notes would just sustain. I'm going to hold out the notes longer on the bass line, turn the sustain knob up. And then if you want to get a little bit choppier, turn it off. So it'd be easier if I'm going to crank this up. It eats that microsynth up. Okay, now let's kick it into poly mode. And turn the envelope off. So I'm going, well, I want to dirty that up a little, so I'm going to go secondary function. I'm going to crank in the ring modulator. You do that by holding this button down, turn this, activate this guy. That's going to kick in the ring mod, and I'm going to have a little bit more like thicker, distorted sound. Now I'm going into the Oberheim world. By the way, I always remember the Oberheim sounding like, and I should know because I'm hella old and I was around when that thing first came out. So here, listen. Now what I want to do is add delay so I can come in with volume swells on that. So I'm going to do secondary function here, turn up the delay. Here we go. So, I'm glad you fast forwarded to this section so you didn't have to hear us talking about it. Sorry, we like to talk about cool stuff. You know, it's not, we're just excited.
We're not trying to just like review shit. This isn't a fucking lame ass review channel. This is like, oh, we hang out and talk. That's what it is. So, but now you're here, so here we go. All right, here's the thing about this. 6 knobs, right? But it's many, many more knobs. It's kind of actually 12 knobs. And then if you get into the global settings, it's more like fucking 16 knobs, okay? So pitch for pitch shifting, yes. Filter, you know that one. Mix, yes, duh. Sustain, easy. Anyone that's ever farted around on like any sort of synth in a Guitar Center will recognize all these different sound or all these different knobs and options, right? Filter envelope. Now this is a little different. This took me a second because when I'm on like my synths at home or whatever, you can adjust the rise time and the fall time, right? Which sometimes is attack and decay.
Right.
This is filter attack and decay, not rise time or fall time, but that just applies to me. Who cares about that? So anyways, this knob will affect how the filter is reacting, right? So you can have it do these cool like nyom, 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 like the Boss SY synth bass, right. SYB3 or whatever. I use that quite a bit. This will take over that because now I could get those sounds out of a much more reliable and louder pedal. Or you can have it be so like the filter has a slow attack, like swells in to the filter, not as a volume swell or anything, right. A filter swell. Okay, filter and then modulation. This is fucking awesome because, you know, I always say this with low end bass synthy filtery pedals. I like to have a chorus after it, specifically the Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine, because I set that to be in a way to where it like detunes it just partially and widens it. Well, what this knob is going to do is you're detuning one of the oscillators. Right. So it works just like you would do it on an actual synth, you know, an actual synthesizer. And maybe it goes, I don't know what the sense is, you know, like when you're tuning on a synthesizer, it's by sense.
Right.
And
CENTS.
Yeah, sense. So, and you go like not even a whole step. It's like in between. And is that micro tuning?
I think so.
Microtonal.
Yeah.
Microtonal tuning. Maybe that's what that's considered. That's like the Aphex thing where he's in between the fucking notes, right? So anyways, that's what these knobs are. And now let's just jump in. Well, I tricked you. I said I was going to play music 5 minutes ago, and I still haven't even played one note. So anyways, that's the surface level, okay? Also, just what's up, we're using their preset switch, which Meris came out with this, I think, maybe a little bit after the Ottobit Jr., and now it's crucial. You get 4 different sounds, and you can use it with different pedals and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so I've got my favorite sounds dialed into this thing. So there's where my preset pedal is plugged in, right? So you could use that for expression, preset, or MIDI. What is MIDI? Look at this right here. The MIDI I/O from Meris, which we don't have yet, but I think we're going to want one, especially with this pedal. You could tweak hard. So, for instance, my question to them was like, oh, what if I want to get very, very specific about the speed of this? Because I can only, like, tap it so much, right? And I want it to fucking go 200 BPM like that and have that saved as a preset. You could tweak hard in the MIDI I/O section. So here we go. Here's my first sound. So this is the monophonic synth engine that they've built into this guy. Now there's a whole bunch of them. There's monophonic, there's polyphonic, and then there's a couple other secret ones which we'll talk about. You see that there's a tap tempo. What's the tap tempo for? Well, there's a hidden delay in here. There's a fucking arpeggiator sequencer kind of thing, but the tap is not applying to this right now. And, there's also some secret functions in here too. There's an alt function for tap and there's an alt function for the bypass button. The secondary function for the tap button, if you were to just hold your alt guy and hit that, is you're going to get different envelope types. Envelope follower or triggered envelope. And that's going to totally adjust the way that the actual envelope filter works with each of the different synth engines. The alt function for bypass is the actual wave shape. So right now I have this set to square, and you can set it to be a sawtooth as well. Let me just tweak with knobs so you can hear how this alters this, okay? Okay, I've got my filter to be on attack, so it's opening up, right? But here comes that like Boss SYB sound. Here's what it's like without the filter. If you go all the way to 0, the filter envelope is off. There's your square. Now watch. Let me alt this shit. I'm going to get to a sawtooth. Oh, sorry. That's the square.
Yeah.
I was on sawtooth.
Yeah,
oh, my preset was on a sawtooth. That's why. Oh, yes. There it is. There it is. See, you're learning with me. So I was on sawtooth, which is more of like a choppy, almost like distorted, grainy. It's grainy. Sawtooth's a little grainier, and square is what you're hearing right now. And if you, I have this set. There's another fucking alt function is all the different filter types.
Right.
Rattle off these.
You got it. So in this filter type knob, you get the ladder low pass filter. See, I didn't even know what ladder was. I know what a low pass filter is. So there are a couple of different types of low pass filter. There's ladder low pass filter. That's all the way to the left. And then the next filter up above that is the ladder band pass shelving filter. And then about 11 o'clock, there's ladder high pass filter. Then around 2 o'clock, there's a state variable low pass filter. Beneath that, state variable band pass filter. And then the dimed all the way to the right is the state variable high pass filter. These are very technical names that I did not know.
I told Terry when he was showing this to me, I was like, dude, I don't filter types. I don't know that stuff. Right. You probably know it a little better than me because I feel like a lot of that applies more to bass, low end.
And yes, right.
You know, for guitar, that's not something I ever get into. But my favorite sound is the low pass filter,
right?
The ladder low pass filter, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, roast me here if I don't have this right, but I believe that's what's in the Ottobit Jr. is the ladder low pass filter.
Okay.
So anyways, this sound it tracks insane, by the way. There's not a lot of synth pedals that track as good as the Enzo tracks. That was one of the first things I noticed because I was going to be like bummed, like, fuck, this thing's not going to track well. And of course, it's fucking right on. So anyways, that's your square wave sound. That's my first fave sound out of this thing. Let's show you what happens when you add in this secret ring mod alt function. Like, why would they add a ring mod to it? I'll answer that question with another question. Why not?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So when you don't have the ring mod fucking dimed, it like just affects like the tail of it and does that kind of trem sound. Do you know what I mean? So then let's like just fucking crank it. Hey. Whew, like that's amazing. Okay, so that's my first sound. So there's a really, really cool sound. There's your first synth engine. Second synth engine in poly mode, another mode that tracks amazing and crazy. Modulation all the way off, so the oscillators are tuned perfectly, right? So when you crank the modulation, you get that out of tune sound, which it's very in vogue.
Fucking horror movie shit.
Horror movie and all, like, I feel like that's like a thing with like production, studio, hip hop stuff. Oh, it's like, you know, it's cool to be like the nasty sounds now. Yeah. Oh, thank you to Death Grips, right?
All right.
Like, oh, who's gonna bite all that? Well, everyone wants to bite that sound now. So yeah, nasty, out of tune sounding shit, modulation. Let's see.
Right? Yes. Totally.
Yeah, very, very pretty sound. I don't know how I would describe that poly sound, what the synth engine to that is.
Like a Prophet 5, bro.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is it maybe
that's what it sounds like, dude.
Or like
80s, yeah.
Or like, it's like the DX7.
The DX7.
DX7, Prophet 5, Juno.
Oberheim.
Probably
Juno,
all that shit.
I mean, yes. Angelo knows.
Yeah, he knows. They know what they're doing over there. That's the thing. So let me turn the filter off. Let me get the filter envelope off, and let's see. It's the cleanest filter sound I've heard.
Rad. And you could do that with an expression pedal, but like we're not going to do that right now. We're moving.
So just to let you know, right now we're set up to be out of our expression MIDI jack in the back. We're on the preset pedal, or you could have this to an expression pedal, right? Okay, I'm going to switch to number 4 real quick. Whoopsies. Number 4 is the sequencer. Okay, so I like this. I like to just go full on like house techno.
Ooh.
Like I don't want to even have a fucking guitar in my hand when I'm doing this, but I will have a guitar in my hand because that's going to affect the note input. So let me crank the sustain here. Let's go. Watch this. So there's your tap tempo. The first time you're going to get to use this tap tempo so far, right? So the way this is working is it's reacting to the note input, right? So I just fucking tapped something, but let me try and make some sense here. Can you hear it going to the minor chord? So here's an A major, F sharp minor, G, B, C, A minor. There you go. So that's the arpeggiator sequencer mode. Then the final mode is dry mode, which is hilarious. That there's a dry mode that you can have flanging, delay, ring mod, and then this pretty funny thing, which is like a shifter. Okay, in dry mode, here we go. I have this set to where there's no filtering, and the way that Angelo explained it to me is you would go to ladder high pass filter, and then you have it all the way off, like turned down. So check it out. So there's no filtering happening right now, and the filter envelope is going to react with the pitch shifter that I have going. So watch. Now if I kind of tweak with this guy. So now it's going up. So it's the speed, the rate at which it goes up, right? Now if I go back to the decay side, it should be going down, I guess.
So would it be safe to say that the way that you're getting those drops in scoops is because of the portamento function of the pitch?
Yes, which we haven't even talked about yet.
Right.
Good call. So the extra function of the pitch knob is portamento, aka shifting up or down to notes, right?
Baby,
glide, exactly, glide. And I'm always on the hunt for pedals with portamento glide. I use religiously. I use the fucking Digitech Ricochet as a portamento
Right.
glide pedal. This sound that I have is a sound out of the Digitech Space Station.
Right.
Let me see that.
Converted
Digitech
it.
Space Station. This is a modded one, right? One of my favorite sounds out of it. Fucking, what number is it? It might be like 15, 16, and 17, where there's different portamento options. Bingo, right here, and they're not set. You can do whatever you want to it, right? So the portamento is really, really cool, and you can use portamento in any of the actual synth engine modes, not only dry mode. But I thought it was just funny to have it in the dry mode, so it's like, oh yeah, I took a synth pedal that has the craziest high-tech filter, and I just turned it into a glide pedal. So, okay, let's add delay. So here's the delay right here. That's delay feedback, the modulation button. So that's, just your feedback. You could probably, I reckon we could get some delay going and then turn the feedback all the way up and get a really obnoxious sound. Right.
Nice, obnoxious.
Yeah. Okay, you could do a bunch of stuff. Watch this. Oh, so my portamento's on right now.
Yes.
I have portamento on, right? Okay, so finally, I just had this funny idea when I got this thing after farting around with guitar for a couple hours. It's like, wait, all other Meris stuff sounds really cool with drum machines, so let's see what happens when I plug it through the Boss Dr. Groove DR202. So what's really interesting about it is the bass drum is triggering the synth on the pedal, right? And I've got this in my favorite mono setting just for that square wave sound. And so you'll see that it's going to just be triggering the kind of low end is going to lock. The bass drum out of the Boss is going to lock in with the triggering of the Enzo bass synth sound. So here's just the drum and bass patch I have. Okay, and the mix is all the way down, right? So you'll see what happens when I bring the mix up.
It sounds like the anti.